Hello world, Joel Norden here, and welcome to A Sound Discovery, where we're going to break down last week's tracks. Now, if you want to join the live event that happens every Friday on Twitch, Pyroslayer 92 is my page name. I do a little bit of gaming on Wednesdays, but Fridays is A Sound Discovery. We check out tracks that dropped in the last week and react to them as a group, and we kind of share our thoughts on them. Now, with this, I will be breaking down the tracks from worst to best, in my opinion. I'm going to try my best to be respectful, but I'm going to be honest on how I feel about these. I want to hear what you guys have to say as well. So if you disagree with me, that's awesome. Please drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. And if you agree with me on stuff, that's cool too. Let me know what you think about that. It's going to be some fun, guys. So let's jump into this without further ado. So this track is All Better by Crow Baby. While I loved the vocals here, kind of had an Aqua Dolls feel. The instrumental was where I kind of drew issue. It is both in tune and out of tune. The notes are off note and on, like there's all kinds of stuff going on. And granted, it's somewhat punk, so it doesn't need to be perfect. I get that. But as the track started, there was a nice vibe, but as these more and more off notes just kind of kept popping in, it almost felt like the track was just spiraling out of control by the end, and kind of gave it more of a artsy feel rather than it leaned more into art rather than listenability. So this isn't something I'm going to be driving around bumping, but to hear it once was fine. Definitely not my flavor. The next one is Break by Backlift. This track, while the instrumental was rather solid, the vocal melodies are kind of something I've heard quite a bit from Japanese punk. Not that that's a problem, but it just didn't really have a fresh take for me. Plus, there's a little bit of a language barrier, but the instrumental is solid. Now, if you're into that style, you probably want to go check this out, because instrumentally this is rather solid. I enjoyed the vibe kind of, but just at the end of the day kind of left me wanting. Next one is Loco by Ren. Now, I feel bad for this because this, first of all, is not a highly listened to song on this album that just dropped. I also reacted to Genesis, which I believe was an earlier single, and we're only doing the stuff that just dropped in this last week. So while this track did not do it for me, the back beat was a little off. Ren kind of comes at you with a little more of a freestyling nature here. It's kind of having fun, but a lot of the lines just kind of didn't do it for me. In fact, I felt there was some lines that were just kind of cringy, but granted, he was having fun with it. It might not be a freestyle, I'm not sure, but it definitely has that vibe to it. Not my thing, but I'm really excited to check this album out nonetheless. I did like Genesis quite a bit. So this was kind of unfair just because I haven't got to check out the rest of the album, but you'll have that. The next one is the Shower Scene Acoustic. I thought it might be cool. Listen to it, and it was just below meh for me. Just felt really unnecessary. I think it would have been cooler for them to go with a remix, kind of like they did with the Rainy Days track, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I was excited nonetheless. Kind of felt a little left down. It was enjoyable, but on a couple of extra listens, it just kind of fell to the wayside. And then the last of the worst tracks, in my opinion, is Charlotte Sands' Get Over It. This has a very generic pop punk feel, kind of teeny bop-ish feeling. Not my style exactly. I do like Charlotte Sands. I enjoy some of her other work. Just this didn't quite do it for me. It is what it is, I suppose. So that is the wrap up for the songs that I consider the worst tracks that we've listened to this week. Again, guys, all respect to the artists. This is my personal listening preferences that I am putting out here. So I want to hear yours as well. If you disagree with me, drop that in the tracks below. Now let's get to the mid stuff that I thought was okay, but still didn't quite get me there. And we got Soja and Hyrie, which I was pretty stoked about. This has a nice vibe, but it just feels over polished. If you're into reggae, it's a solid tune. If you're into mainstream reggae, especially, this is a solid tune. But for me, it just felt a little too polished, a little too, just left something wanting. I want a little bit of rawness there with Soja's voice, which, yeah, it just came off as a little bit more poppy than I wanted it, and kind of came off as mid. But I do think that there's people out there that would enjoy this, especially if you're into them a little more mainstream side of things. All right, the next track is In Stride Last Dance. Now, this is, I put this slightly above mid, but I'm throwing the mid category just because it's in that like 4 to 6 range for me. So I'm adding both of these tracks to my playlist. We reacted to 2 of them in the live stream for a Sound Discovery Monday, Last Dance and When It's Over. Let's do Last Dance first. Honestly, let's just do both of them because they both have this very brooding kind of doomsday feel, like rock. Meanwhile, vocally, you're kind of getting something closer to the Misfits or the Radkeys, something along those lines. I enjoyed this, actually. This, I think, will end up going in a playlist. Both of these, like I said, the other one is When It's Over. I enjoyed these, but they are simple tracks. If you're into that kind of style, you're definitely going to want to check this out. I'm a fan. And then here's where we're a little controversial. Green Day's The American Dream is killing me. Now, I enjoy Green Day. Their newer stuff has been a lot harder for me to get into. I do think this is one of the better tracks that I've heard from them in a minute. Still, it's in that, like I said, 4 to 6 range, so I'm putting this in the mid category. I don't know if this will end up making a playlist for me or not, but I have been jamming it, and it has been getting stuck in my head. But as of right now, it's kind of in that mid-range for me. It's okay. The music video was a little bit of a turn-off, but that it is what it is. The reaction for that will be dropping on our channel, Nightscast Studios, with my buddy and I, that we do reactions. So if you want to see a little bit further in detail of how I feel about that track on initial listen, you can go over there and to that channel. Now, after that, we have another one, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs, Alkaline Trio. This one, weirdly, I felt like there was too much motherfucks in the song. I felt like the cursing needed to be spaced out a little bit, but I did enjoy the vibe. I know on my initial reaction, I kind of complained about the production, but I think it was just a video that we reacted to at the time, because I'm not really getting that here, and this has slowly been growing on me as well, and this is right on the high end of that mid section for me. I've kind of had this whole list set up from what I dislike the most to what I'm liking the most. So, those... Oh, no, we have... No. Those are the mid categories for me. The songs I like the most is the biggest category right now, so this will be fun. We're gonna dive right into it, guys. Here are the tracks that I liked this week the most, and I think you should check out if you're into this style of music. Song The Bullets Sing. There's some badass lines in this. It has this old school, like, I shouldn't say old school, but like 2000s emo vibe to it. Kind of something more of like My Chem, but almost a little bit more raw than some of the stuff I've heard from My Chem. So there's this nice mix to it. It gives you an old school nostalgic feel while bringing something new to the table. I think this is a great track. Very excited to hear more from this. I think you should go check this one out. Sebe Lowe, this is the first track I've heard from this band. I'm not sure if it's a band or a solo artist, but Billionaire, Extraordinaire. This has just a really nice, like, alternative rock feel. Very, very enjoyable. A little bit slower paced. I think if you're, like I said, you're in the alt rock or rock, I think you'll enjoy this one. Definitely would suggest this as well. The next one is Checkmate by Addalemon, which reminds me of a Digimon. I don't know why. Just does. Now, that being said, this is a great punk track. Very, very, very solid. I love the vocals. I love the instrumentals here. And while there's nothing super crazy with the instrumentals, I mean, it is your typical punk track. I think vocally, lyrically, it is a fun track. if you're into punk, you should definitely go check that out. It's definitely in the more skate punk category of things. Now, some Ice 9 Kills action with Splinter. They did a remix. I was highly skeptical, but this actually ended up being rather fun. I do think there's some areas in this dub that is a little hollow sounding and a little forced, but for the most part, it gives you some really good energy, especially by the midway point of the song. You're really starting to vibe with it, and then it gives you some really nice dirty dub breakdowns there towards the end. I'm a giant fan of metalcore being mixed with dubstep, so if you're into that, this is something you probably want to check out. Again, I do think there's some areas that need tweaked, but for the most part, this is a really solid track. It's a banger, guys. It's a banger. Next, Anthem Part 3, Blink-182. This album dropped. I haven't checked out all the songs on this album, but this one's a fun one. This has some old school Blink-182 vibes. Travis's drumming's back. The boys are back. Travis is killing it on the drums, though. That's something I really noticed. Vocally, it sounded like old Blink-182, which was extremely nice. It was fast-paced. It has been a while since I've listened to Anthem Part 1 and 2, so I can't really compare, but people in the chat said that they felt it was rather impressive how similar it kind of matched with those. So I think that's definitely a track worth checking out. Next one, Coffee Break, Wasting Time. This is a fun track. Another skate punk tune. I don't even drink coffee, and I ended up loving this song. It's only 1 minute and 21 seconds. It is a blast. Make sure you guys go check this one out if you're digging some punk. I really enjoyed just the overall just vibe of the track. It's a good one. FML Chuggaboom. My only complaint I have with this track is the chorus. Fuck my life. Fuck my life. It's all right, but the rest of the song is just fire. It's fire. And that chorus is growing on me. So this is up there for me. I'm digging it. Final 3, guys, and this is where we're going to have some fun. These are my favorite 3 tracks that we reacted to Monday out of the last week. Let's get into it. Joystick, Boxes. This is a ska punk banger. The trumpets, the horn section, this whole song is just fire. Vocally, great. The only issue I had with the song was during the breakdown towards the end of the song. Just vocals did not really do it for me. Other than that, this is a killer track. 1:56. It is fun if you're into ska punk, and I still think you should check it out even if you're not. It's a blast. Great tune. Great tune. Next one, Judas Priest, Panic Attack. These guys have been around forever, and they're still killing it. It's like they never left. Not that they did, but Halford's voice is just insane. This gave me some old school Priest vibes. The guitar is a highlight as well. Both the guitar and vocals just shine clear as day. I was extremely impressed. I didn't think this band had anything left in the tank. I'll be honest. I'm just been waiting for a bad album, and there's been a few in their discography, but this track is fire. The only complaint I have is the chorus, Panic Attack. There's just not a whole lot there. A lot of you guys already know that I'm not a giant fan of 1 to 2 word choruses being repeated over and over, but the rest of the track makes up for that. It's a killer tune. Make sure you guys go check that out. And the number 1 track of this week, Hellbirds by Rivers of Nihil. This thing's brutal. It has those deep, gruff vocals. I saw somebody drop in the comments that it is, I don't even remember what they said. This track is just deep, brooding vocals. Typically, I'm not a fan of when the vocals have this kind of a little bit of a static wall in between them and the listener, but this track did it so well. I thoroughly love this track, and I am super excited about their new album that's dropping. This has got to be my number 1 for sure out of the stuff we've checked in the last week. This track was fire. You guys got to let me know what you think, because I'm really digging it. Without further ado, we'll try to get into a little more detail in the future, but this is basically the first video I'm doing based off the tracks we reacted to Monday. And Monday we just ran a test event on Twitch. So Fridays will be our normal time to stream. We're going to check stuff out as a group. You can jump in there, drop requests as long as it's in that week and it's not been dropped as a single earlier. We're going to check it out. We're going to have some fun. We'll try to get to as much as we can. Obviously, we're only human, so we're not going to be able to check out everything. But this is my lineup. Again, it's been pretty cool. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, though, honestly. What do you guys think of the list? What do you guys think is my best W take? And what do you think is the best or the worst L take, I should say? I want to hear your thoughts, guys. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's have a little fun. Hellbirds is definitely the winner of this last week, though. That is an insane track. It is heavy. Heavy. The atmosphere is fantastic, though. You guys got to go check out River of Nihil. Until next time, y'all, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you want to join my little community and have some fun. And again, guys, Sound Discovery will be on Twitch every Friday. If you want to join the fun, react to stuff, drop your ratings in time as we're checking out these new tunes, make sure you hit that follow button on that, and we'll have a blast together, all right? Until next time, y'all. Peace.